Everyone's running to their seats for this morning's riveting edition of No Spin Rodeo. Time to rally together and find out all of the insider trading for all things National Finals Rodeo. Welcome back, Tommy Joe Lucia, Kendra Santos, No Spin Rodeo Rally.
Well, good early morning here in Las Vegas. It's Thursday, December 11th, 2025. Thank God we're all alive. Welcome to No Spin Rodeo. We're 7 into this. And good morning, Miss Kendra.
Good morning.
How is it today?
It's great. Thank you.
Everything's good?
Everything's great.
Are you spicy or are you kind of vanilla latte today? How you feeling?
I'm spicy every morning because Oat sends me chewing on fresh ginger, and it's very spicy. It'll light you up.
Fresh ginger.
Yes.
Okay.
Use it for all-night drives. I highly recommend it. It's good for you, and you cannot go to sleep chewing on it.
Oh, I'm going to get me some fresh ginger. That sounds like, actually, someone handed me a card on the street that said you could have some of fresh ginger. And then, so, anyway. Okay, here we go. Welcome. We're going to kick it off like we always do. Pro Fantasy Rodeo. Their games. We'll do a Pro Fantasy Rodeo round recap real quick. Let's look at the players in Pro Fantasy Rodeo and see how they're doing. So we didn't talk about me. All right, big game after round 7. Trace number 5, Casey Estrada. The same guy yesterday, by the way, staying at the top of the board with $943,000. I remember the first time I played Pro Fantasy and it said, pick your team winnings. And I blew that completely, right? Because I didn't think about the aggregate. I didn't think about all that money, and it wouldn't have made any difference. But so in second place with $942,000 is Tony Champion. So congratulations, guys. You're on your way to winning a pickup and a beautiful trailer. So that's cool. And then the important thing is, if you haven't played it yet, I'm going to keep saying this because it's fun. I'm playing it. Pro Fantasy Rodeo daily game. You get to play daily. $5 off if you have a big team. Get in there. Try it once. See what you did. Let me tell you about it. Crazy Heart Rocks. ROXS. $254,000 on their team last night. Boy, I wouldn't give for $254,000 in one night. That would just be a beautiful thing. Lord. Anyway, $3,500 payout. Good thing. $3,500 payout. $2,500 for second. $1,250 for third. That is our Pro Fantasy recap on the Pro Fantasy side. Well, the last recap is this. Tattoo League. Everybody knows I'm in the Tattoo League. If you don't know by now, I have been rocking it at the number 22 position now pretty consistently. The number 22 position is where the number 1 guy gets to tell me what the tattoo is, and I have to have a tattoo. Made it 56 years without ink, and here we go. So I'm sitting at 22nd. The congratulations, Kendra, you are now 21st. I'm only $70,000 from you sporting some ink.
So 2 comments on that. If we were gonna start again next week, I would make the same bets. Speed Williams, live by the sword, die by the sword. When you go with a team instead of splitting the team, you are saying, here's all my chips, and my poor guys are having hell. But the other thing I'll say about that is I would be a sorry sucker to be complaining about losing in a tattoo league compared to the week these guys are having. So
you're calling me a sorry sucker. I'm just saying, it's way worse on the Cowboys, but I don't want to lose. That's just me. It's my narrative.
Nobody wants to lose.
Call me a sorry sucker. Wow.
I didn't call you.
Yes, you did. You would be a sorry sucker if you were complaining about losing. That's me. I'm complaining. It's okay. I can be a sucker.
What these people go through all year to be here and then to have a torturous week is,
I agree.
Man.
Put everything in perspective. A little bit of ink on me won't matter as long as it's underneath my foot, Mr. Harrison. Something very low. Go ahead. So that's now we'll kick it over to you. Can you give us a recap of what happened in the dirt? And there was a lot. There's a lot that happened last night.
Yeah.
There's some stuff happening.
Yeah, there was a lot. And Jaco Roper, that's a tough one. because it was late in the day yesterday. He was on the day sheet, expected to go. And then, do you play with pain or can you physically do it?
He drew out of 2 rounds, right?
Okay.
In case they don't know.
Okay. So it's a groin injury and
Bareback rider.
Groin injury where he physically can't do it. And now the Justin Sports Medicine report says all caps OUT, which typically means out for the rest of the whole deal. And so that, when you have 2 baby girls at home and you haven't won $1 here this week, is really tough. Now, everybody gets $10,000 on back number night for getting here, which is better than nothing. But man, that's a tough pill to swallow. So that's a sad deal. J.R. Stratford, who got hurt a couple nights ago, he's out again tonight in round 8, but he's questionable for 9 and 10. And the Justin Sports Medicine guys and J.R.'s mom are saying if they can get enough of the swelling down in his head, he will ride in 9 and 10. That's a tough one because it involves a concussion and all that. So
life's more important than 2 rounds. Please be careful.
For sure. But so that's still not, that's still a day-to-day. They awarded this year's Lindemann Award last night, which is very special in today's day of single event specialists. And Australia's Darcy Kirch, who is a bulldog and calf rope and bronc rider, Aussie, this award is after the great Bill Linderman, who was a world champion steer wrestler, saddle bronc rider, and all-around cowboy, and also back then the Rodeo Cowboys Association president. He was the first guy, I believe, ever to win the Triple Crown.
Really?
And he made a huge difference in our sport, and that is just in this day and age, that is it just gets more prestigious all the time, because to be able to win $1 at the other end of the arena in 2025 is no easy task.
In the world of specialists, where it does make sense to really concentrate on one thing and win big. I mean,
something that happened last night that is just like jolting to me of how many years we've been here, because it feels like yesterday. Last night was the 30th anniversary of when Sammy Andrews retired Bodacious here. And I remember it like the conversation clear as crystal. Like Sammy was crying because his notorious legendary bull, he had to retire him before he killed someone, because he had that deal where he would jerk guys down and then throw his head back. And I remember, what was it, Scott Bredding? They were wearing helmets. They were ready for it. And he was smashing the helmet into their face. It was a really tough one, though, to have that kind of a notorious animal and say, I got to pull him up in his prime. That was big.
I understand that, but I think I think it was the right thing to do, because that bull was very, very athletic, but also very, very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Just very dangerous.
I was there when he obliterated Tuff's face at the PBR finals. That was the most gruesome thing I've ever seen. Okay, in the bareback riding last night, Jess Pope won the round. And also of note, which this is his 6th NFR, and he's won the average 3 times. And right now he's second in the average only to Wacy Shala. So
Jess.
There's no one much more consistent than that guy. Cool deal is that Waylon Bourgeois rode full baggage last night, Frontier's full baggage. And that horse is 23 years old, 19 times NFR, 2-time champ of the world, and is retiring after this NFR.
After this NFR?
Yes. So that's,
cloning in the future.
Congratulations on that. Okay, Rowdy Parrott won his first round on the steer wrestling. He went last night. It was 4 flat. He is riding Crush, Ty Erickson's horse. And I just did some quick math. Rowdy, Stetson Jorgensen, and Ty have won $262,329 on that one horse here this week. So
and that was a clinic in bulldogging. Watch that run. That was good. Yeah,
it was. And we had a horse change last night. Dakota Eldridge got on Ringo Robinson's, I think her name's Monroe. And he's got Tyler Pearson, the world champion, over on the hazing side on Metallica, who's one of the most notorious hazing horses ever. The Graham boys from Canada won their second round last night. They
seem like gold, just like feedlot cowboy.
They're very
right?
sweet, and I've had the chance to visit with them for stories before we got here, and they're cool. And that yellow head horse Outlaw, he's really cool. Like he snaps around there and gets you a quick flag. Clint Summers and Jade Corkill are the only team now that's 7 for 7, and you can see now they're playing the long game now, and you can see it. Last night,
Yep, absolutely.
Clint did not blow the barrier out of there, but he went and made sure he caught him. And you can see this confidence with them since day one, and visiting with Jade before it even started, like his game plan, like that guy's a predator in the arena, you know? And so that for him to just, you know, take some time off and then come back, like,
well, you
he
can
never
tell they're
missed.
playing businessmen, which is good to see.
Absolutely right. And the thing about like Clint, he's got the horse of the year, Joe. This is reminiscent of Speed Williams back when he had, for the long scores, he had Bob, and then he would come here and he had a secret weapon in Viper. Not so secret after the first year, but now Clint has Transmission, who is made for the Thomas and Mack Center. So he's armed for every situation. Statler Wright won his second round in a row last night. So that was cool. And then we turned right back around and Joel Braden Harris won his second round in a row also in the tie down. Okay, in the barrel race, it was, there were some cool things and some tough ones. There was a lot of slip sliding going on, and we got to mention that Caitlin Scott went down on the first barrel, all the way down on her horse Peanut Seed.
And that horse, the coolest thing,
Finished the pattern.
We got a picture that we'll throw up of that horse coming around that third barrel, riderless. Look at that. Tight, right?
Well,
and you talk about the animals, right?
That they love it.
They love it.
Yes, and also that picture is taken by the master, Kenneth Springer. Golly, I'd be shocked if he hasn't been shooting those girls for at least 50 years. He's the barrel racer's best friend. And then interesting, and to say that fall, they had gotten a check in every single round and were second in the average only to Cassie Mowry. So that was really...
Let's talk about all that ground stuff on the backside of this.
Okay. All right. Haley Gibson Stillwell won the round. She was 13:45. Okay. And she mentioned that going to the left was a big advantage. Well, okay.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Mentioning it. Okay. The bull riding. Only 2 guys rode. TJ Gray, 90.5 on Cord McCoy's Blue Duck. He wins the round. And then Bryce Jensen was 76 with an option, didn't take it. And that little decision paid Bryce over $55,000. So TJ won right at $63,000 because of the ground money situation. And for those who don't know, the bull riders, they're the only event who has voted that ground money counts toward the world standings. So
and ground money is
so you take all the money available in the round, and if only 2 guys they do the breakdown. If only 2 guys make the whistle, they take all that money and they
split it by the percentages.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why instead of winning $36,000, he went 68 or whatever it was.
And Stetson Wright was fouled in the chute and got a re-ride. The re-ride was on Buck Nasty, which last night seemed fitting. They did hold him till after the rodeo. Most people didn't leave.
We'll talk about that. That irritates me.
Okay. Wasey Shola leads the Top Gun which is for the most money won here in a single event with a little over $150,000 in the bareback riding, interestingly enough. And I wanted to just make a mention of the fact that TJ Gray rides with his hand upside down, and most people ride underhanded, like 99.9%.
So he rides like most bull riders. You've seen it. They pull the palm. They do the pinky wrap. He rides like this. And when you ride like that, you really have to sit on your hand. Like if you want to watch him in the chute, not only is that interesting, but when he slides up, he is almost sitting on his hand.
And the reason he does it is to compensate for a wrist injury. And, I can't decide whether that's more unbelievable if somebody could figure that out, or the guys who literally switch hands. I've seen guys switch hands in the middle of the NFR, and that is like, I mean, that's almost like a calf rope or roping left-handed here.
It completely changes the muscles, right?
Yes.
What you're using. So this way, you're locking in with your bicep. Does that make sense? And your chest. That's your pull. Well, when you turn that hand over, then it goes straight into upper body and core. Does that make sense? Because you don't have near the strength to pull this way than you do this way. So it's a very completely different way to ride a bull.
I have the what if sheets, and so I'll just rip through those really quick.
Can we bring our guest in so they can talk about it?
Sure.
Is that cool with you?
Yes.
Let's bring our two guests in. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to bring in interesting people. So the first guy that I'll have come up and sit by me is the big boy, the champ of Flying U Rodeo, Mr. Reno Rosser, one of our top commentators on No Spin. Big time ratings when old Reno gets on. Welcome to the stage, Reno Rosser. And then a guy that we all know, but not everybody knows, but part of a great family in rodeo, does an interesting job. Bring to the No Spin Rodeo, Mr. Andy Hilton. We'll get into his job, but take a look. Would you walk out front? We want to get a full body shot of you. Now, don't turn sideways because you look thinner. Black does help, but it doesn't fix it. There you go. Just want to look at his, because now all of you that don't know anything about what we're talking about, you can be thinking about what his job is at the NFR. Yeah, that's a very flattering suit.
Well, it's a lot less flattering at the end of the perf.
Welcome. Hello, Reno. Grab that microphone. How are you today? You good?
I'm wonderful.
Now, I think this is interesting, so we'll jump into everybody. Flying U, Cotton Rosser, one of the outspoken, smart businessmen in our business, which is why I have much respect for Reno. Interestingly enough, you flew home. Tell us what you guys are doing at the ranch right now at home, because I think a lot of these people would love to hear this.
Well, because we make so much money in the rodeo business, we have to sell Christmas trees in the wintertime. So, no, we have a Christmas experience at our ranch, Rosser's Christmas Corral, which I started 20 years ago. And not only do we sell Christmas trees, but it's a rodeo experience. In California, we're always having to educate our fans. So when you come in, there's a PVR, PRCA. It was a bull Stetson Wright said would make the NFR, and I bought him, and he never did. But anyways, but he's a real gentle bull.
He's a good photo bull, right?
And so people can pet the bull, and they learn about the bull. It gives all the facts. There's a mare and a colt. There's a bulldog and steer, and they learn about rodeo, and they learn about agriculture, that trees are agriculture. So, and then if they want to buy a Christmas tree, they can. That's great. And my wife, my attorney wife, is the cash register. She's at home watching the kids while I'm here screwing off. So.
Selling Christmas trees. Yeah. Do you flock them?
Yeah,
I love to say that.
No, we
do you flock them?
No, we have a mother flocker, and he can do all colors. And yeah, we in California we did a Raider tree. We do a Niner tree that always falls down. But
okay. By the way, Flying U had the horse that Statler Wright won the round on last night. So along similar lines, did you name this horse Talk Dirty to Me, Reno?
Well, as you know, everybody in the PRCA office besides the top doesn't get paid enough. All the Procom girls, all that stuff. So there'd be time where I'd turn in the stock and the gals, do you have a name for this horse? I'm like, just give me a name. So that was actually a Procom operator that named that horse Talk Derby to me. So anyways, yeah, no, that's the story behind that. So those
congratulations.
And those girls follow that horse throughout the year. They're like, oh my God, they won that rodeo on that horse. And they're pretty proud of it. So gives them a stake in it all, right?
I'm speechless. Go ahead.
It's good timing that you weren't flocking.
Yeah.
You're back here. Yeah. Good timing. Well, let's switch over to our next guest. Mr. Hilton, do me a favor. Share with our fans. You are a official contractor of the NFR. Not everybody understands what you do. Would you tell us, as detailed as you can, what your role is during the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo?
So I am on the timed event crew, which there's, I think, 6 of us. And the year I came on, they said I had to push the team rope and steers. So before I came on, they would have someone run the extras in each event. Because years before that, they would have someone on the timed event crew push, which they didn't want to. right? So they didn't really try the hardest.
Now push. Now there's some of these people out here.
Sorry.
Right? I mean,
So
we
I
all
push
push.
all-
Depends on how.
So I get in the
hydrated you
chute, and I'm the one that holds the steer of the calf to the front. And when they nod, I send them.
You shove them.
Yep. And there's a lot more to it than that. Knowing cattle,
Yeah.
if something lays down, what's our procedure? Maybe waiting till the last minute. We try to have a game plan on some of them so they can, once they're in their corner, we get their head and they go.
The basic purpose is not only, it's part of it's production reasons, right? So to where they can nod quicker, but also to keep like the playing field like level, right? For fairness.
Yeah.
So everybody gets like the most fair
For sure.
shot.
Yep. And I think some of them over the time don't know they can come to me because I think it was kind of don't talk to the pusher or no tips or, they don't know they can do anything.
You get tipped.
Yeah. So now some people will come to me and be like, hey, I got the calf that laid down 2 nights ago or 3 nights
What
ago.
about the guy that's running the catch gate too behind you? Does he get a tip?
Nope.
Wow.
So good, I guess.
Or the guy doing neck ropes that's saving lives in the buck and shoots.
Can you be fined for anything?
That's yes, because I am I'm a card holder. Yes.
Do you ever insert your finger in an unwelcome place to get the right kind of results?
That would be something Tony Amaral would say to me.
You know what? Does he not look a little bit like Ty Erickson?
Ty
Ty Erickson? Has anybody ever told you?
No. They say I look like Hambone, but I said Hambone's not that good looking.
Hambone. Do you have a nickname?
Nope.
Like beef stew
Nothing.
or biscuit?
Never had one. No.
Or gravy or
Big serving.
hawk?
Nope.
Tell
Big
people,
sir.
Tell people who Hambone is for the.
That's my brother.
2025 music director
Yep.
of the year.
Yep. I think it's his 4th time. Yep. Really good music player. He's okay on his podcast. We won't talk about that one right now.
They're good. They're good. Rum Chat's good. Okay, so now we're gonna go through some different things of the performance. The only thing I would ask you, I've got a question for each of you real quick, more specific to what you do, and then we'll jump into the rodeo. You cool with that? So on a serious note, it's not just pushing cattle, because I'm going to ask you if something comes in here and he's waspy, I'm assuming, and he's looking, you want to try to gauge that where they all have the same out. Right? Is that fair?
Yeah.
So you got to really pay attention to the animal and then turn and look for the guy. Because you're looking at the guy nodding, not just the animal. Where do you look at last?
Well, on the steer events, I'm looking at the header or the bulldogger.
Now-
And so when I get them to the front, and the reason the coveralls were actually my idea, and it's nice because I can get up in there. And at a rodeo, if you're pushing somebody, you're just going to use your hands. But I would get gassed the first year using my hand. And I feel like when they came back, I had no leverage. But instead, I used my right hand, and there's a kick plate, and I hold there.
did they weld that for you? Because I
No,
noticed it's
it was,
perfect.
I don't know. It was years ago. They said whoever was on the latch, the steers would kick, and he didn't like it, so they put that kick plate. But anyways, I get up in there and I hold.
Do we have that picture? We got a picture of him, I think.
No.
We'll bring up. Kind of shows your
you
game
go.
your game time position right
So
there.
as you see, my right hand is down, but I'll hold that kick plate, and then I hold my left hand right there, and then I put both back feet on the back of the chute, and I look back. Once he's to the front, then if something happens, they'll yell at me, get him up a little bit, Andy, or point, or reset or something, because I can't.
Oh, they'll
I
yell
don't want
at
to
you?
miss. I don't want to miss the nod, the cowboy will, or waggly will on the heads. He'll yell at me.
I have a finer tune point. Is there a rule? At the junior high finals one year in Gallup, New Mexico, one of the dads, his kid wins the first round of the calf rep, and the kid gets a no time in the second round because his dad, who was pushing, broke the plane of the chute. Is there a rule?
There is.
So
And it happens at rodeos when I'm working them. The contestants sometimes will go clear out. They won't give them a no time, but they'll give them a stern talking to.
We've had a case this week where somebody had to run the extra because you couldn't get
The steer up.
to cooperate or whatever.
Yeah.
Are you in on having a conversation with anybody in that?
No,
decision?
not really. I mean, we all know. I mean, the other night that steer was down. We were using our help, and it still wasn't working, and we all knew he wasn't getting up. And there's sometimes in the tie down, I've looked at Shad once, and I go, he's not going to, and you want to take him down? You know what I mean? But that's about it. Everybody in there knows, I mean.
So you put both of your feet against the back.
I do.
And that's why you look like you're doing a header every time.
It was never for attention to go down.
Oh, whatever.
It worked.
Sure helps with the tips.
Yeah. But yeah, I can give all, my both legs and both arms shoving as good as I can. And then it was just easier going down. And I wasn't as gassed at the end of it. So
I'm going to turn this over to you. Most stock contractors put a lot of time and effort and thought into their pushers. Explain to us the Flying U pusher process. Is there a grading period? Is there a testing period? Or is it, hey, Bill, put your beer down, come out here?
It's usually the quickest guy on the crew. And the reason why he's so essential to production is I can tell you from a lot of other non-Flying U or Survey rodeos is that at a normal rodeo, Joe Bob walks in, twirls his rope. Hey, Jimmy, back there in the back. And he's got his ball cap. Hey, give me a push. And there's 30 seconds. And you start adding that up. And holy crap, your time events just start really dragging. So it's an essential part of production. Yes, it is fairness. But God, you watch these rodeos, and they don't even think about their pusher until they're out in the arena twirling the ball.
Or they're getting in and out. Like I want Bill and I want Fred, and he crawls over and hold my hat.
Cracking the latch again this year at the NFR is a Flying U family member, Tony Amaral. So, I mean, rather important job, right?
What's going on? We haven't talked about this. Can anybody share the handful of times that nothing's happened?
So even last night, I forget who it was, nodded and they leave and it didn't open, right? And they're like, oh, Tony missed another latch. He didn't. He had it. But if those steers are pushing in the front, like sometimes they'll leave me, I'm holding, and they'll get to the front right at the right time. And if Tony manhandled that latch down, it would be a slow gate. It would, and then we'd have to run a rerun. And so it's really happened. There's only been one time, and I'll stick up for Tony. I've done it. I'm the backup latch man, and probably will be Tony's replacement someday. So the other night with Tom Kraus, he, sometimes they're looking ahead. It's hard here. People are nervous. Not all the contestants nod the greatest, and the latch man gets hell for it. But Tom rode forward, right? Well, when he rode ahead, good, boom. Well, he's just riding his horse forward, right? And it's happened to me in San Angelo, Texas.
Yeah.
I'm a boom, and I'm like, gosh dang it. So I'll always have Tony's back. He's the best at it, and he gets a lot of hell during the NFR. And I'll be the next guy that I'll eventually have a problem, and I'll be the one.
So he pushed it down, it didn't open.
Yeah, it doesn't. He knows that pressure, and I've done it too, and it doesn't. And that saves him because that may be the best steer on the herd, right?
I see. But
he just happened to push
so he doesn't miss it by going early.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very good knowledge.
They would rather come back, reset, and I've had them say, thank you. Or like Anderson, Bridger, this week, when this horse starts to move, you won't open. As a good latch man, when they're going and the horse starts to move and they're nodding, Tony just didn't open it. And I'm looking and I can see, and I'll be like, Tony, good job. And they'll come back, right back in and go, thank you, because they would have been late. They would have been dead late. But on TV, it looks like they're nodding and going, and they didn't open the gate, So
good clarification.
I have a really tiny detail that I think's interesting. The barrier pulled early for JD Struxless last night.
Yeah.
And he was 4-4. And so, I mean,
barrier pulled early.
The steer got, so that steer
kind of won the round. He was 4-4. The barrier pulled early, which means the clock starts early. Go ahead.
Yeah, that steer was leaning. I'll know if I get it because it can happen. And if I do, I've touched it with my hat or something. But usually I'm far enough out, it's not that big of a difference, or if I really did get it. But last night that steer was kind of smashed against the wall on the left side. And when I went, I think he just caught that rope, and enough pressure, it just pinned it. And it pulled early. Like, I didn't know how early, but the judges after the rodeo asked me, because they said they thought maybe there was something in front, like it wasn't pinned very good, because it pulled really early. Like, it wasn't even, and that's the hard part, because then it's the judge's call. And, yeah.
So what happens? It's a judge, barrier goes early.
Yeah. So
what are the next protocols when that happens?
Then the judge is watching the line, has to make that call.
He makes the breakout call. Oh boy.
Well,
And it happens a lot at rodeos, and most of the time it's nobody. But those big guys like Will Lumen, they're so big they'll catch. There's ropes, there's pulleys. It's just hard, It's just there's malfunctions. There can be there's just
Any
stuff.
chance we could put an electric eye? I know they're against the
Good luck.
electric eyes being up there, but again, refusing technology. Oh, I know you don't like it, but imagine if the eye was the second.
It would be
The second option. Duh.
It's already in the works.
especially on a long score. Like at Houston, I've been on the neck rope there a long years, and it's nerve wracking because that's a lot in the team roping, and if it comes in when a healer wants to hang back, it can be dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah,
On the
because you
long
got to
score.
watch two things. You've got to watch the score and where the cowboy is. That's almost impossible unless you're cross-eyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Now, one more thing, and then I'll kick it over to you. There's a lot of committees and councils in our associations, and you're on the executive council, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And what does that mean?
Not a lot.
What do you
No.
What do you guys?
So we were
What is
voted
your What is your role in
So
the business?
We were voted in by our constituents to represent, the 84 stock contractors, and then we report to the board.
And so you represent stock contractors, and there's different people representing different contingencies.
Yeah, committees,
contract personnel.
contestants. Yeah.
So in a typical executive council meeting, what kind of topics are there?
Well,
I mean, that you can talk about, I guess. I mean, you know what I mean. But do you talk about rules, fan engagement? Like, what is it?
not fan engagement because I don't know that that's a stock contractor issue. But like what Kirsten Bold and I,
It's an everybody issue, by the
no,
way.
it is. It is for me, but not for your typical stock contractor. But Kirsten Bold, who's stepping down, we worked proactively on the turnout issue. Changing it from a 3-hour turnout rule to an 8-hour, and we even had the rough stock guys on board for it, and it got held up by the timed event guys. And look, I don't care if a timed event guy turns out. If a steer trots down the arena, that costs me 30 seconds. But if I have 3 bucking horses in the chutes with no saddles on, you got a wreck. Now I got to turn 3 bucking horses out in the arena.
Well, let's dig into that rule real quick because it's interesting. 2 hours versus 8 hours. Explain what you're talking about to the fans that don't.
Well, you're in the production business. If you wait till 2 hours before the rodeo,
I know what it means. I'm leading you in. This is what a good host does.
I don't want to wait till 2 hours before the rodeo to know I have a disaster on my hands. At least if I have 8 hours, I can, call high school kids, get another something.
Now, if they don't turn out in 8 hours, what happens in your proposed rule?
Well, we need to find
$100 fine. Boy, that's gonna change some things.
because the non-notified fine right now is $100, and they don't even bother doing that. And all they got to do is open their phone and hit turnout.
It's hard for all of us rodeo committees. This is a big topic, everybody, because you sell tickets to a rodeo and we don't know who's going to show up because these guys will enter multiple events. And in their defense, their business plan is to figure out how to win. Okay, I'm not saying that any cowboy's doing anything wrong because that's their business model, but it's very hard on the rodeo event. And as Reno was saying, more specifically in the rough stock event. So the more time we have, and you know what I did that I think was a good move? You can tell me. We're going off topic, but I'll do it. We changed our deal and we did the draw early. It helped us. Believe it or not, it helped us. Because I thought, don't tell them what they've got. They'll show up and get on. It didn't work out that way.
Yeah, you don't want to give cowboys too much time to think.
Yeah.
Right. They'll talk themselves out of going to the rodeo, or they'll wait and see what they did in the first and second perf. They'll start studying videos. And, I'll never forget Billy Atbauer told me when I was riding, because he showed up at one of our rodeos and it was just an 18-point bronc. And I go, Billy, what are you doing here? Like, I practice on that horse. He said, Reno, I've won more money on horses that people told me not to get on than the ones I knew I would get on. And it's because Billy just made horses better.
Yeah.
Ty Murray never turned one out.
Nope, never.
Yeah. So back to the board council, the executive council sounds pretty cool. Do you get swag or anything? But that's not the question. The question is, in a typical executive council meeting, is it like other council meetings we see all over where it's just like rubber stamp, rubber stamp, rubber stamp. Nobody's engaged. Nobody's thinking about it. Or is this real? Is it a hot conversation in there?
It is. This year we discussed qualifications for livestock getting to the NFR. I mean, clearly, and I knew this was going to happen 10 years ago. It's paying so much that there are probably, I can't say what they are, some unethical things happening to get stock to the finals. How can we prevent that? And we've had a few ideas, but, we come up with the ideas, we pass them off to the board, and where it goes from there, who knows?
Does Fly and you, do you sponsor Cowboys?
I do not. I feel like my dad would kill me.
I was just wondering if you sponsored Cowboys. That's cool. All right. Well, we can have our own conversation forever. So let's get some roundtable. You want to take us through some rodeo stuff? You want to? There's big things that I want to talk about.
One thing I will randomly mention is that NFR picket man Matt Twitchell, who had his horse fell in the corner a couple nights ago, he's out with a broken foot for the rest of the finals. So happy healing to him.
Yeah, he got back on and finished the round.
Yes, he did.
Oof.
Yeah. I have the what if sheets. You want to?
What if sheets? What if this
sheets.
happens?
So this starts every year after round 7, and this is if the rodeo was over after 7 rounds, and they paid off the average as it is right now. You say aggregate, I say average.
Well, that's actually the correct definition.
Whatever.
It's okay.
I say events, you say disciplines. It's all good.
An event is an event. What are you saying?
We're going to agree to disagree on a lot of items, but if it was over today, Rocker Steiner would be your world champion bareback rider. If they paid off, if they had no more rounds and they paid off
that
the
would
average,
probably be good for him
as it stands. Okay, in the steer wrestling, Mr. Tucker Allen would be your world champ if it ended right now.
California.
Not one of the bigger guys here. If it ended today, Clint Summers and Jade Corkill would be your world champs. Again, Clint, by the way, is one of our rare NFR switch enders who's headed and heeled here. Pretty cool. But Jade gets the cool award for taking a couple years off.
He gets the cool award for his hair. I mean, the dude is stunningly.
Kendra, this is probably an Oak question, but is next to John W. Is Tucker the smallest bulldogger ever at the NFR?
Those two would be pretty close, but Rowdy falls into the same category.
I don't know. I think Rowdy's got him by a few pounds, but
A chicken fried steak.
It's pretty close. I bet you I outweigh Tucker. I don't outweigh Johnny.
Most bulldoggers' dates are larger.
Large. Yes, I've been reminded of that this week. Okay, there have not been a lot of headlines about Zeke Thurston this week, but if it ended after round 7 and they paid the average off, Zeke Thurston is your world champ.
Oh my God, please.
And
for the love of God, please.
He is hands down the smartest bronc rider in that room. Did you watch the Canadian finals?
Yes.
He looked like Billy Etbauer. And then when he gets here, it's all business. He's not exposing himself like he was at the Canadian
He
finals.
gassed her out last night, though.
Well,
That's
come
what
on.
it looked
I'm
like.
talking about 6 of the 7
But
rounds.
he's winning the average.
He's making business-like rides. And you want to know why? Because at the Canadian finals, they don't pay a big average.
Oh, don't you start with that on
Just
me.
saying. Zeke rode lights out like I've never seen him ride at the Canadian finals. And it's just every night it's been a businessman's ride.
Yeah.
Whereas Stetson and everybody else is just
Great chance that guy has the most world titles ever before he's done.
Yep.
Because he is smart.
Any comment from the, come on, you've got to have a thought. Did a thought not cross your mind in the last 5 minutes other than, boy, I could sure use a donut?
Let us get back.
I love your two, how you both have different views, and then she doesn't. I just like it. It
I
works
think
good.
I can take him, don't
Yeah.
you?
But I do
think she can take me too. Because you're a Bulldoggers girl. I mean, not too many of them
I do
can.
kind of agree with I know the average thing is nice for a payout for someone that's maybe not have the greatest week, but it sure is exciting every night when someone goes out the first round. It gets pretty exciting.
It
Yes.
completely changes the dialogue. It makes this way more compelling.
Well, and Riley Webb on his Horse of the Year, Rudy, he's leading the average. And if it ended right now and he didn't get to rope his last 3 calves, he would win $506,000 for the year. Like, if he holds his place in the average and doesn't place in any more rounds.
Who's contesting Riley right now in that game?
Shad,
still?
but remember, Shad had that calf get up, so he's 8th, and they in the average, and they pay 8 places.
Okay.
Oh, you even got the people to put aggregate on here now.
Sure. Bam.
Jack.
It's because it happens to be the correct definition of what you're asking.
Whatever. Okay. Cassie Mowry would be your world champ again. And again, she left her 2024 Horse of the Year home for reasons that she didn't choose. And she's been on 2 different horses here. If she pulls this one off,
Well,
it will surprise no one, but wow.
While we're on barrel racing, we got to talk about the ground. Why? I mean, you almost have to. So I'm going to open this up for conversation. I've got some insider trading on that. The round before, fastest round ever, right? Like, what a round. Then you get out there and first horse goes down. Thoughts on that overall, just kind of thoughts on how, the original people are like, how does that happen? How can it be great and get any worse if you do the same thing? Thoughts on that? What about you?
I've never second guessed Randy Spraggins.
This is true. I'll talk to you. I'll give you a little insight of what Spraggins told me. You, any thoughts of
My only thought is for the people that are just blasting and acting as though like no one cares, like what the hell's going on here? No one cares. It is not for lack of effort and try. If something isn't right, it is not for lack of people staying up all night long out there on that tractor with the water and trying to get it dialed in right.
And, we talked about the probes and the water. What this highlights, and then I'll share a little stuff. What this highlights is this ground actually changes as it lives in that Thomas and Mack. The little things that people don't understand. Did they leave the air handlers on overnight? Right?
Or the roll-up doors.
Or the roll-up doors. Old Bill's like, yeah, it's a little stuffy in here. Fred, flip that switch. Let's get a little air in here. That completely changes everything. And you know what was brought up to me that is interesting to me? That, again, I'm not saying this is it. But we never contemplated the missing of the grand entry. That grand entry packs second and third layers of the ground. Right? It really does. It changes. It does. You put that many horses in and around there, it definitely changes the consistency of the ground. So that team has been adjusting what they normally do, believe it or not, because there's not a grand entry. Very interesting. And you're right. They spent all night last night. It's just like the judges, okay? And we'll talk about the whole Stetson thing here in a second. We'll end the last 15 minutes on Stetson and Mark out and bucking after the rodeo. And these guys are working at it. It's just hard to see. Now, do you think that those girls changed? I'm not a barrel racer. You guys know I'm not a hunter. But did they change their approach and stuff? Did they talk in the back and say, hey, hit that corner tighter? Because it looked like maybe some of those girls that hit the barrel were trying to go into that corner tighter so they didn't get outside. Again, I don't know. I don't know nothing about this. I'm just asking. Anybody have any insider on that?
I don't know that you can necessarily change your angles, because if you change your angles, say going to the first one, then you're not set up for the second one. So,
but they definitely don't. They change their angles every time.
They change their angles the most when you can really notice it is when we get toward the end and people they're doing well in the average, and you can tell that they're kind of holding their horses off of those barrels. Because 10 nights, especially if you're on the same horse every night, to ask a horse to not. I mean, some of them hit it on the way out, just finishing their turn. They're kind of like doing their job and they just get it, And if you don't have Emily Beisel with the classic leg lift, they just barely tick a barrel unintentionally. But, otherwise, I don't. If you don't come out of one correctly, it impacts the next one. And they're starting to show this AI like tracking those girls. And I mean, the tiniest little tweak is the difference between placing in the round or not.
So you guys, both of you, in the last 7 days, conversations on the ground, on the timed event, have you heard anything?
No, but I'm out there 3 times a day, and I'm there for all the barrel practices.
Are those at 5:30 in the morning?
Some at 6, some tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. We love to get up early and go to barrel practice on the timed event crew.
Sure you do.
Do most of those girls at practice, do most of those girls go slow?
Some walk. Some Lisa Lockhart will lead her horse sometimes the first time in. In the first practice, some of them go full on the first run. So it's just depending. Some are full on, like they're trying to make a run, and some trot. Some go around a couple times and then they leave. Yep.
They're kind of mostly, I think, trying to get them to like relax and maybe free up a little bit.
I'm sure. And they'll switch horses. Haley rides a couple different horses during it.
So
and none of them have fell. None of them have fell during a practice either.
Well, when you're leading them, I bet not.
This is the perfect person to ask about the people have been fined for riding in the arena. Is that during the middle of the day?
No, yeah, they can't be in there. There's open arena times. So tomorrow, I think it's 7 to 8 is barrel practice, 8 to 9 is open arena. And the other morning, there was a few that were just in there before we did before we had open or tying the calves. So
yeah, but that's probably a conscious decision. They know they're going to get fined, right? Yeah, well, we can get fines. Anything on dirt? Any of your little clannish crew talking about?
Hey,
that?
I'm coming off a round win, so I thought the dirt last night was great. So
the lines didn't bother you?
I heard Rory complaining about that, but as my dad or Alan Jordan would say, the lines are out there for all 15 bareback horses. So
well, let's get to the fine list. We love the fine list. As you know, so does social media. They love the fine list. So let's look at round 7 fine list. We'll go down it and stop and get commentary. Lefty Holman, excessive rosin.
Hot topic.
Excessive rosin.
Reno.
I'm interested in your rosin thinking. What do you got on rosin for us?
well, I think everybody's trying to find an excuse why we're not the only person we bucked off this year is Stetson Wright in the victory lap. It's not the rosin. Everybody's saying it's the rosin and they're bringing cheating saddles. No, they're just not bringing the buckers anymore. The eliminators have now evolved into the semi-eliminators. You watch San Antonio, San Angelo, the wild card round at Houston. These guys are getting bucked off, and it's the same saddles, it's the same rosin. They're just not bringing the horses.
And the Cowboys, to be clear, pick what comes here, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I could pick my opponent in the UFC, I'd be undefeated.
Bam! And you've got several horses at home that fit as true eliminators.
They're out there.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments on that? We'll go to number 2. Tucker Allen, not ready, timed event, 54 seconds, $250 fine. Is there one of the pro officials that's there on a clock? I assume so, if they know what seconds they're on.
Honestly, I don't know. The one time I do remember was in Texas in 2020 with Kansas Cowboy, or Iowa Cowboy. Won the world that year. Anyways, yeah, he took forever in there, and you could hear him start to say 20 seconds. You could hear him start to say 20 seconds, and then he was yelling at it, which he wasn't meaning to. Like, he didn't mean it, but it's get him right, because they were about to turn him out. Like,
that's still a judgment call, right? I mean, there's a lot going on before you put somebody on the clock. It's the same thing in the buck and shoots with the PBR, right? You got to know, like when you're running the shoots, everybody wants to run the shoots. It's like if you're a shoot boss, you've made it. You are now officially smart in the business. But the truth is, you got to read the situation. Does the guy have no heart? He doesn't want to nod. That happens. Is the animal really, really cheating?
A lot of times, a guy's waiting for his hazer to be ready, too, because those Hazen horses, like they say, that Hazen horse cannot be third place in the race. And so they
have been several times.
Yeah, well, and so a lot of times, think about it, you're looking at the steer, but your peripheral vision is trying to say, this Hazen horse over here is not ready, and if your hazer's not there, you're toast.
Yeah, and I think Tucker's horse was having trouble. And if a steer's fighting, just like the other night, it relays down, they give him the extra. So, I mean, if the steer's ready and the judge thinks that standing up in the back, if he thinks that
the steer's good
and they're not nodding, that's when he won't restart it.
Guy on the panels.
Yeah, he's the one that...
Get fine list, back up. Let's get through this.
Scott Gunther got the same fine, and he's on Tanner Milan's Eddie. And that horse makes me laugh. And Scott kind of laughs at that horse, too. Google. If you find Google, Eddie's the horse that back in the day jumped over the lead up. You've seen it. And ended up in the hazing box.
Be real careful when you Google Eddie the horse.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that might come up. I'm just saying.
Scott chuckles at Eddie when Eddie pulls his shit, just like Coleman Proctor chuckled. he always chuckles at Heisman, who's one of the greatest horses ever, head horses here. And he'd go in there and throw his little fit and shake his head and all this. And literally, while Coleman was dealing with us in the box, he's laughing at this horse.
And he's talking to me. He would tell me, I'm going to talk to you. And it's like some people call it weird, but that was how he focused. And he'd come up and he would go, sorry, Andy, I'll be ready, Andy. And I'm just sitting there looking, okay.
The horses are so good that you will take a little bit of stuff from them.
All right, let's finish the fine list. What do we got left? Bring it back up so I can see it, Mr. Cruz. Zeke Thurston, not ready. V11.1, 250. Probably a part of this whole Zeke as a businessman that we talked about a little earlier. Makes sense. Now, this one I'm interested in. Championship Rodeo, wrong flank man. Mr. Contractor, how does that work? Like, how do you...
I don't know. Will O'Connell's usually really on it, so I don't know what happened there. I've actually never even heard of that fine.
Maybe Will hit the Mexican food place, but this is like 3 nights in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't at Survey before.
I thought it was I don't know.
Maybe it was. I don't know.
I heard it too, and I have no clue how that goes. I don't know.
That's cool.
Can I finish the what if? 'Cause
Or
we
does
only
it
have
have to
Oh,
do
I'm
it?
sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
the last event we have on the what if they paid it off today like it was over. Stetson Wright would be the world champion bull rider, and obviously all around cowboy too. But in the bull riding alone, over 575 grand. If he didn't even get on the next 3 rounds, that's pretty cool.
Is Stetson riding tonight?
I'm going to say yes, and kind of a quick yes. He wasn't even. He walked away. I mean, we all saw
We got 6 minutes left. Let's throw this out here.
Okay.
So remember yesterday we talked about Buck and the rerides after the show. The biggest story in professional rodeo is not only Stetson, but this race, and he can't go. And by the way, a kid that doesn't jack around. Like in the production world, if Stetson's next up, the production team better hustle up. Fair? Like, he'll beat you. If you're an announcer, you better get your stuff out because Stetson is not jacking around. And it took me forever because you know how it is. You wait to see that ride. And then he gets actually schmucked out, ricocheted back, forward, under the front. I think we got a replay of the ride that we can take a look at. In case you, like a lot of people, never got to see this, you can see it right here. Let's start it back from the front one more time if you guys can. Here he goes. This is after the rodeo. There's a couple looks. We got a couple more looks tonight. We'll see what else. He didn't move at all there. Really scary stuff. There he is, packing a leg. Coming up the deal. This is, this is Superman in a cape, as the announcers say a lot. After the rodeo on his re-ride. And do you have is there a medical report on him? Do you have what is the medical report?
It was like contusions. There was nothing. I've got it right here.
Oh, I remember when my kid was playing football, and it'd be like, "Oh, Billy's out. He's got a left eye contusion."
It looked terrible, but here's the deal: left hip and right leg contusion is what the official report says. And let me stand corrected in a good way from just getting a text from Hazer Riley Duvall, the Shakota connection, saying that Jayco's dad is saying Jayco's going to get on in rounds 9 and 10. So I'm glad to know that because the report says all caps OUT, which usually means you're done. So I'm really glad for that correction. But Stetson got up and shagged it to the South Point. It was on the stage with Reno and Statler last night. So he was there in support.
Yeah, I had no idea about the wreck, and somebody told me, and I walked up to him, and he said he's fine.
Okay. And we talked about this, the build. A guy like me is not built athletically, but I'm built to take some punches, right? Short, stocky, tight, not going to beat anybody in a race, But then you got the longer, more athletic people that are quicker and better, but they're in fairness, less durable overall. And that's got to be a concern for a guy that's getting on 2 different disciplines or events.
It's an advantage and a disadvantage. As you and I talked this morning, it's like eat a cheeseburger.
He's tiny.
But on the other hand of that, I think stock performs better with him. It's just like horse racing. You know, the smaller the jockey, the better the animal.
Carly Otero. Yeah. Tiny. So, yeah, he's getting on. So that's the update. Again, I really wish they would consider keeping those guys in the show. And now, let's talk about the missed mark out. Mark, I'm talking about bucking him after the event. Okay? Remember we had that conversation. I'd really like to see him in the event. Let's talk about the mark out rule. I did not say this. Remember the whole, did Stetson mark him out? Yada, 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 yada. I'm going to say this again, and I told you I wanted to bring it up again because I'm going to keep saying this. Why is a missed out a disqualification when you miss a leg and it's a penalty? Someone tell me why that they can't keep the mark out rule, they can't enforce it, and they can't levy some kind of a point deduction for not doing that. And instead of a 0 and take them out of the aggregate.
The highest level guys, I think, are split on this, right? From the people I talk to, some of them feel like if you don't do it, you're not setting up the ride, correctly, right? And there are pros and there are cons. What are the cons? That they don't get it right sometimes?
We just got to get rid of it. Got to get rid of it.
Why?
Well, as I talked to a PRCA board member the other night, and I'm not going to mention who his name is, but he goes, Reno, if you get rid of the spur out, you might as well get rid of the barrier. No bullshit. The barrier is mechanical. The spur out is visual. And we couldn't even get it right on video the other night. We as an association screwed up the other night. Stetson Wright did not miss that horse out. And arguably it could cost him and will cost him the world in saddle bronc riding. We messed up as an association. We need to do better. My fans in California, ever since Bob Tallman got put in the hospital at Reno Rodeo 20 years ago, being on a horse in the middle of the arena and explaining a spur out, unless you can visually show the fans what a spur out is, they don't get it. So if we can't do that, let's get rid of it and make it a point deduction. We've already done it at Fort Worth. We've done it at Calgary.
I had a thought about this from this particular NFR. Like they're throwing the flag on the jerk down for the first offense. First offense is a fine. Second offense is a no time. What if here, the first time they supposedly miss one out, it's a fine instead of a disqualification? What if we did that?
Well, I think still it's a visual call, right?
Right, but Stetson wouldn't have gotten a 0.
Yeah, but if you did the point deduction, you wouldn't take him theoretically out of the aggregate. Now, remember when Mr. Etbauer joined us, and after the show, this was a year or two ago, and I had the same conversation with him on there, and he seriously believes that we have to keep it because he seriously believes that it changes the ride and it changes how the cowboy and it changes the animal. So that's what I'm saying. Keep it. Right? The hardcore fans will know that he got a 20-point, I'm making it up, deduction, and on and on.
How many points would you deduct, Reno, if you did that?
Well, I think at Calgary and Fort Worth, they were doing a 5-point deduction.
See, I don't think that's enough. That doesn't really I think that if you miss a horse out, you probably shouldn't place, personally.
Well, you're not going to place in the round with a 5-point deduction.
It depends on the round. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so it's just I just don't understand it because you want me to tell you, hey, newsflash, most of the people out there don't know and don't care. They just know that he got a 0 and they don't even know why. So, it's things that we have to consider and contemplate as we try to progress in this business. And this family right here spends half of their time or more advocating for professional rodeo in a state of Karens.
I would say that not everybody recognizes that Reno is, like his dad before him, a leader in the charge of protecting our sport. And, for the 10 millionth time, if everybody thinks, what goes on in California doesn't matter to the rest of the rodeo industry, they're on crack because that's not true.
Well, we got 32 seconds. I just want to thank my guest. Thank you, Mr. Hilton.
Thank you.
Good humans from the heartland, like the real place. Great family, real people. One of my favorite idols in this business, and I think a friend. It depends on the conversation. Reno Rosser. And the First Lady of Pro Rodeo Journalism, Kendra Santos. I'm Tommy Joe Lucia. Thanks for being a part of No Spin Rodeo. We'll see you tomorrow.